Yes, g'day punters. Hello and welcome to the 2024 Melbourne Cup preview. And what a week of racing we have ahead, Louis. G'day.
Yes, g'day everyone. I just want to check Dino's there. Mike checked maybe 1, 2. Didn't
No,
even give him a
straight
chance
into
to
it.
say good day
Straight into
before we
it.
start
I
recording.
got to did it again
Yeah,
too.
so Tuesday, first Tuesday in November. It is Melbourne Cup Day. And look, the race, which we'll touch on, I guess, in depth very shortly, it's probably not your greatest Melbourne Cup we've ever seen. You've got, a few horses coming out, a few horses who just didn't maybe go on their prep as they thought and were withdrawn. So it's left an interesting feel, but I still think it's not a bad race by any stretch of the imagination. Good international flavour, good local hopes, and a winner, of course, to be found at a good price, as that always is in the Melbourne Cup. You're not really seeing anything go around at $2 and dominate. You're always getting a good betting market. So keen to rip into it. It's going to be a big day of punting on Tuesday, of course. People want to argue, is New South Wales trying to steal the thunder off, Melbourne, blah, blah, blah. In the end of the day, fellas, who cares? There's meetings on all across the country. Just sit down and try and find a winner and have a bet and enjoy the day's racing. I think that's what we should all be focusing on more than anything else.
Cannot wait. It's going to be huge. Dean Watling, deanwatling.com. G'day, mate.
Afternoon, team. Yes, no, Mike check straight into it, boys. But that's the way we should do it.
We're
Single
just
stream setup.
professionals here. We don't need that stuff. We're ready to go.
That's it. That's it. Off the cuff footy, eyes up footy, like the Roosters can't do. Boys.
Whoa. Under Madge Maguire, there'll be no eyes up footy for you next year. Your structure to the corner will be a nightmare. Hey, just quickly recap a few winners for the All In show last week.
Yep, from you two, not from me. So well done, Gannon. You tipped up Switzerland. Louis, you tipped up a stack. I think we even had a midweek winner.
Alsafina nearly got the multi. Was that you that tipped it, Louis? Someone tipped it.
Yeah. It was a moral run fourth, and we
by a nostril to $121 shot.
Yep.
The salty tip. So we're going to sub you out for
let us down there. Sorry.
Anyway, the duck race will be back on again, so make sure you do comment on the YouTube channel. Give us your first four for the Melbourne Cup, and you will most definitely get involved in our Cup multi, whatever we're going to do on Cup Day or Stakes Day, whatever it's going to be. Make sure you comment to get involved. Righto, lads, we're going to do this a bit differently. Off the top, we're going to give our top four for the race. We're going to give our reasonings why. We're going to have a chat on the speed map, and then we'll just bit of round table stuff. We'll go deep dive. If you don't like what I say, I want you to question it, vice versa. If you want to dig some holes into Dean's tips or Louis' tips, we're going to do that. Have a bit of fun. Righto, speed map, Dino, Louis, let us know who wants to go first. What are your thoughts on the map here?
You go, Dino. You're a speed map guy.
Well, it's good to understand the speed map this year, because I think we look at last year and you look reference the data, reference the horses in there, and they went incredibly hard last year. Found plenty of horses out. And you look at the first three in finishing order last year, they all come from well back, well beyond midfield. This year, I think it's not going to be as strong at all. So you could maybe fall into the trap of thinking, yes, Flemington, very fair track. It's been playing fair, which it has been. But we've seen over time that tempo dictates normally the outcome where you can come from in this race. So look at Twilight Payman's year, rated perfectly. Last year, run on. So this year, I don't think there's a lot of speed. Just Fine, Absurd, Vauban, a couple others Seeking potentially up there as well. Land Legend, depends if it pulls its head off, will probably go forward too. So
has to go forward, Dino. Has to, otherwise it'll be a disaster.
Yeah, and that's the question mark too. There'll be plenty that drawed wide here and probably going to go, well, what do we do? Go back, go forward. But all in all, I probably had it a moderate to maybe just slightly better than average tempo up front, Louis, which I think all horses get their chance. I want to be concerned about the horses probably worse than midfield. That's where I sort of look this year, which leads me to Buckaroo. Not sure what they're going to do from that gate. So moderate to probably slightly above average tempo this year, Lou.
Yep, I can't add much more than that. All the horses that you mentioned will go forward, probably do. And I don't think it'll be a loafing tempo. So I think if you're a good horse like a Buckaroo and you can find a position, maybe hopefully at worst, just behind midfield, I still think that's okay. Your definite concern is when you're behind that 3/4 mark of the field.
Yeah.
And more so than you have slow horses falling back in front of you if you happen to get caught in behind them. That's where it starts to become real danger zone. So Magic Man Moreira, he'll need to be his absolute best from that draw to figure out a spot. But yeah, definitely, I don't think it's going to be, as you said, mate, a huge cracking tempo, but I don't think they'll loaf.
Love that. Winners, losers from the barrier draw. I think Land Legends an advantage from the wide draw. I think One Smooth Operator's an advantage. Is advantage. I think Absurd gets his chance. Can be a little closer in the run off a slower tempo this time. Dozy thereabouts. If they're positive, which I think we've seen this jockey be positive in the Caulfield Cup, they'll be positive again. And Seeking, well, that horse isn't going to be too far away as well. Louis, kick us off. Give us your top four. Give us a bit of reasonings why, and we'll go to Dino. Then I'll come back, and then we'll have a bit of a round circle and see if we can poke a hole or at least come to a conclusion in the race.
Sure. So I'll kick it off by saying, don't think I've ever tipped the winner of this race. So,
well, Louis, done. Over to you, Dean.
What a start.
That means I'm due. I'm due.
Exactly.
So I am going
form.
to tip Sea King in this year's edition.
Oh, I think God for that.
Why? Because it's off. So you're Bendigo Cup win was really good. We all saw it, and that was fresh into Australia. I think off that, second up now in Australia could really rocket off that rating, which was already pretty good, and record a good peak into a Melbourne Cup. You mentioned the barrier draw. It draws barrier 1. It's just going to get that suck run in behind them, doing absolutely no work. Probably, maybe 6th in running, 4th, 5th, 6th, maybe 2 back, 3 back defense, which can be an awkward spot sometimes. But I think in this race where they fan and whatever, it should be fine. You go back and you look at the run in the Ebor, which One Smooth Operator comes through. It beat One Smooth Operator and should have beat it by panels. If you about the 350 mark, it gets terribly held up, heels around heels, and then when the race is all over, it's coming on the line, beats One Smooth Operator on the line. Somehow One Smooth Operator is $8 in this race, and Seeking is $10, and it beat it in the Ebor. So I don't know where the market's going wrong with this horse. I don't think it should be double figures. I don't think it will start double figures on the day, and it's probably going to SP around that price of a Melbourne Cup winner that we see, not in that $6-5 range, could be just double figures high, single figures, something like that. I think it's a great bet for all the reasons outlined. Buckaroo in next. Obviously, if it draws a barrier, it probably starts, what do you reckon, guys? $5, could be shorter maybe, which is quite crazy.
Easily $4.
Yeah, so there you go. And if the barrier is the only worry over a long race where it's got a lot of time to find a position, I think you can just put that a little bit to the side. It's obviously a negative, but it's a little bit to the side and say, well, look at how it's going this prep. It's a new horse. It got beaten a lip by Via Sistina, who came out and smashed the track record in a Cox Plate. Go back to the Caulfield Cup. Semi just missed the boat there a little bit, I think. Back in behind runners rather than being in the running line. It rattled home, goes past Sardozi and Land Legend like they were nailed to the fence. And the margin spread throughout that behind Duke DeSessa was really good. 3,200 metres is not a knock. It's just the unknown. But based off the way it got home in the Caulfield Cup, and it's going to be back and covered up and given every chance to run on. So if it gets the trip and can just get luck from the draw, we might end up getting a pretty good price for a horse who should be favoured if it drawn a barrier. Absurd in for third. Identical setup to last year when it was beaten 5.5 by Without a Fight. We're thinking this year's edition looks pretty easier than last year's one. Just can be a bit rocks or diamonds, I think. So you're taking a little knock with it. And Vauban is the 4th selection. Failed last year. It was well tried. All the talk was about it last year. The trainer admitted fault on that occasion. And now it's coming back. It's rock hard in the market as favourite, and I've hardly heard anyone talk about it. Obviously, it failed last year, and that can be a knock. But yeah, I'm not going to say it's sneaking under the radar. It is favourite, so that's a stupid comment. But just no one's really talking about it. And I think if the trainer's gone, well, no, I screwed up last year, and they're back, and it's hard in the market, then you'd be stupid to leave it out of your exotic. So Sea King, Buckaroo, Absurd, Vauban, Dino.
Yep, love it. A good summation. It's fascinating. Those two Bendigo Cup and Geelong winners, you reference their form. They could be the next sort of couple of those horses that come out and just find lengths in Australia. I've gone Vauban on top. You referenced it there, Lou. He was all the rage last year. I think you watched that run. They rode him way too close on that. He blew up. He blew up pre-race. He was a massive, massive drifter in the market, which screams he blew up pre-race. The antics of him was he could get really hot and sort of lose it, which he did in the Mountie Yard. They did bring him out on the early shipment last year too, so he's here for a long time. We've got a lot of work poured into him. This year they've done the opposite. They brought him out on the second shipment, if my memory serves me right. He's had a little bit more of a fresher setup into this. I just think he brings a grouse form. Second pass up,
waiting down by the docks, Dino.
What do you mean?
Yeah. looking at the shipments coming in.
Unbelievable. That's a new level of form analyst I've ever seen one.
Well, I think that was half the reasoning of how he sort of stuffed it up. I think that was that, and there was a couple other things I mentioned. I think they mentioned that they maybe gave him too much work last year reading to. I think he's nearly had 2 months off, which some readers pad, some readers good. He brings the grouse form. He was 2 lengths beaten by Kyprios last start, and I doubt you wanted to run any better in that race last start prior to the weights. So you take that into account. I think you referenced it too, Lou. They had a plan, long-range plan for the duo here, Vauban and Absurd, to run well. And I think he's the one that gets 3,200 metres the best out of the two. Absurd's a stablemate. He just needs to be curled up and has like a 200-metre sprint. So
yeah,
I liked him a lot, Absurd, the stablemate, but I don't like that setup around a Flemington where you're going to be exposed to 400. What do you do? Cuddle it and tie straight and say go. Vauban's the one who's got a little bit more versatility. Don't think it has to lead. I think gate 11's perfect. She's going to settle just beyond the speed, get every possible chance to win. On top, for 2, I'll toss this up. I like the effort of one smooth operator. I know you referenced the E-ball, Lou. I was similar boat, but the more and more I watched the replay, it got a long, long way back in that race. I thought it was as good, if not better, than Sea King. I thought its win out of the Geelong Cup rated better than Bendigo, and it's got a lovely map here too. It could be another horse that just has that synthetic form, comes to turf, comes to Australia, and absolutely laps it up. For third, Zardozi went in for third. This horse is driving me insane, this preparation. Puts in a bad one, puts in a good one. Failed in a Caulfield Cup where I don't know what went wrong or what happened to it. And now they've gone the old traditional path of running on Derby Day or running a couple of days before a Melbourne Cup, which obviously Dominic Byrne sort of looks after that sort of stuff and spoke about that. Her effort in Derby Day was outstanding. You watch that back to 1,600 metres off 2,400. Yeah. Oh, it was insane. It's like, why are we going to a 3,200 metre race? So we've seen her in the Oaks. We've seen what she does over the distance, and she's elite. She loves Flemington. Maybe she just didn't go around Caulfield. She's in for third and fourth. I really wanted to be against Buckaroo, but the more and more I look at it, I looked at the data and how hard they went in the Caulfield Cup, and they've gone really, really hard, and he's absolutely savaged the line. I probably would have tipped him if he drew a gate, I'm thinking. I think the negative is he doesn't draw a gate, which means he's going to have to get every part of the 3,200 metres unless Joe pulls out a magic ride and gets him 3-4 pairs back on the outside, then it's probably game over. In a weak edition of the Cup, this horse is in career best form, and Waller knows how to set him up. So Vauban from one smooth operator, from Zardozi, from Buckaroo for me, Gunner.
Love it. Yeah, Buckaroo brings probably the best rating into the race, or if not one of the best, and probably should have finished closer. But like everything I do, and he's always around speed maps and horses, how opportunities are going to get in the run, and we'll know this horse's chance, Buckaroo, probably in the first 400 metres. But just Joe, and we saw it with Ascoli Pacino, I can't remember the horse's name now, he's just a negative rider overall. That's just and he likes to just build them into races. I can't see a scenario where he's going to be forward of midfield, and if he tries to be positive, he's going to be in a bit of strife. So I think they're going to have to take the medicine and go back and ride for luck, and I think the horse will be flying. But I just can't back it purely based on that. I had him marked closer to sort of like that double figure price. So the current price, I just can't be with him. But he could win, and if he wins, I think that's fine if you get beat by that horse. Absurd on top for me. I think we saw this horse hit the front last year and look the winner. And you did mention, Dino probably only has a short sprint. It was a fast tempo. He had to bring up the runners basically from maybe it was close to the 800 metres. So it was a 500 metre sort of effort from the 8 to the 3 on a hard tempo. He won't have to do this time. I think he'll be in and around them, and he'll be doing the opposite, a bit more like the without a fight run. He will be doing the sort of the ducking and the weaving, and then at the 300, he can show that sprint. I think it's how it sets up for him this time around. He meets a stablemate a kilo better. Kieran McAvoy's aboard. He's nice and patient, Kieran. I don't think he's the jockey that will want to get 3 wide and move into the race. He's the kind of jockey that would just be happy to sit there and bide his time. I think it's perfect for him. I think he's perfectly set up. He's been over the hurdles. People say that's ridiculous. That's not the right form. I'll give you the red hot tip. It's worked before, and I think it'll work again. One smooth operator, hardest to beat, just maps perfectly, gets in the right spot. I agree with everything you guys have said. Seeking, Louis, agree with you right there. That E-ball form, I think it's good form. Outside of that, I think it gets very, very close between a number of horses. I think Land Legend, Zardozi, there's not a lot between those two. We've seen that. I think Land Legend doesn't over racing, goes forward, probably has a slight advantage, but then you've got the X factor of a 3-day backup. Like, I don't know what that could do for Zardozi. It could go one or two ways, and I don't want to be on the wrong
She's done it before. What was Sorry,
Gannon. No, you're right. It was
Wakefield in Oaks.
Wakefield into the Oaks, and she exploded. So 7 days, it's 3 days. Look, you got to trust the stable. They know what they're doing. Clover Lake, we haven't touched on this horse. Wait for Age, sort of Group 1 horse that just keeps going around in really good races. Now gets into this race with 53.5 kilos, and it could easily win. Can I steer you into it? No, but if you wanted a roughie or like it could win, right? It wouldn't shock you. Vauban, Buckaroo, St. George. That's probably where the winning chances stop. Maybe Akita Sushi. Other than that, I couldn't possibly envisage anything else making up top fours. So on top, just recap, number 9, Absurd, number 13, One Smooth Operator, number 15, Sea King, and Land Legend, my 4th pick there. Righto, take me to school, lads. Any holes you want to pick? Any questions you have?
You go, Lou.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on Zardozi again. Are we more or less confident that she will run the trip out compared to a Buckaroo or an Absurd or any others at the top of the market?
Absurd's run over 4,000, so that's okay for me.
Yeah, and you know what? I note your point. I reckon if he had his time again last year, Zach Burton, he went too early. He pulled it out Absurd and presented it and sprinted, and he would have thought he was the winner. And then a couple 100 meters later, he goes, "Hang on, why are we stopping for?"
Yeah,
and I think that gives the impression it doesn't get the trip. Like it failed first up, but you watch its latest replay when it wins, and it dead set trucks in the race on the bridle, and you think it's going to win by 20, and then it finds maybe a length, and then holds on. So yeah.
But
so just quickly back to Zardozi.
Tempo's everything for that horse. If they go really, really fast and it gets the same run as last year, you'll see the same result. If they go slow and he can pick runs, he probably wins the race.
How confident are you Zardozi runs 3,200 meters?
I think she gets
every chance now.
That's the only reason I left her out. I can love the quick backup. The fact that they've got Don Byrne doing all that kind of stuff is elite. You know, you look at all the trainers who used to do it, that 3-day backup off Derby Bay. I just go through the replays and she doesn't really scream 3,200. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you, Louis. It's a big question mark. Like, we can hope and we can say that they'll get it right, but then we also think that, you know, Kieran was going to get it right with Pride of Jenny, and you only really kind of know until they race. So the trainer can do their job, tick all the boxes. The horse is great. Zardozi's great. She's pulled up well. She's ready to go. Everything suggests she will, but then sometimes they just don't. That's just the game you play.
If I was asleep and didn't see the Caulfield Cup run, I'd be a little bit more confident.
Yeah.
But I'm just
that's true.
She should have run like where she was in the run. She got the dream run, everything out. It's off track, and you go, well, what's doing? And then you go back and look at her Oaks. You look at her run before it in Sydney when she probably should have beat Land Legend. You go, well, you get it. Like the figures out of that Sydney run at Randwick, when she lost Land Legend, like that just screams they'll get 32 easy off the. But then you look at the Caulfield, you go,
Land Legend was better than her in the Caulfield Cup and over raced for 1,000 meters.
No, I know. The Caulfield Cups. So it's a puzzle with her, especially. I think we'll know. Well, anyway, one way to know is Tuesday. But it's just one. You read her one side, you think, yep, she gets it. Then you watch that, and you go, nope, she doesn't get it. So
give me a blowout, lads. If you had to have a $5 each way on something at 30 to 1 or above, Louis.
It's just the tail of this race is just so long. Like I would say go donate your $5 to charity. Like I don't think you can play outside of those
I think Dino's
towards the
already
top of
done
the
that
market.
this weekend.
It pains me to say it, but maybe something above $20 that is a chance is Kovalica, but I could not put
I'm
money
so
on that
glad you went
horse.
there. That would have hurt you to
It's
say
the
that.
last. It
Yeah.
hurts me, and it hurts me. People are just seeing that the blinkers go on, and it's up to a Melbourne Cup trip, and people are starting to get excited again. I just go, oh man, when will it stop? When will the madness end?
Yeah, when it wins the
Um,
race and everyone's like, oh,
yeah.
I can't believe it.
If it wins, fair dinkum. And you're like I'm not saying it like it's
I've
not a
taken
chance of winning. Of course,
$101. I'm just praying. I couldn't back it
yeah,
Yeah, I
now.
was gonna-
yeah.
I'm just
Maybe
praying
no.
to
maybe
win.
St George, maybe
I'm
St
with you,
George,
St.
and even like.
George. The
But
horse.
what's
Yeah.
this money for Akita Sushi, guys? I don't know if you've been looking. It's like
Yeah.
$21 into 11 back to 14. Barrier 10J car comes off that
Maps
good run
well.
2 starts ago and then wins last start. But that's not the form line, is it?
That's not the form, and I think there's a few horses out of that race. Like Sharp and Smart was going just as well, probably just didn't really get the right thing, the right trip. And then also St. George was just never looked likely. It's just given an average steer, was out the back, came home. I think if you wanted to follow one for the race, St. George is the one because I think it's the one that screams 3,200.
Yeah.
Dino, any
Maybe
thoughts out
maybe
wide?
it's the Mar factor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
they're
it is
both
a mark.
Ma, but yeah.
That's true. I think it's just a recent winner. People just like to see. Like you watch
Yeah.
that replay, like it got every possible to win that race. It
Yeah.
wasn't like it was
Yeah.
going away from Serpentine.
No.
Serpentine was coming at it on the line. So I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you got to have a stand against something, and I would stand against it at that price. I just think it's short.
Yeah.
I think interesting listening to the socials of St George this week. They think that this horse is fine. They think its track work was better than Kita Sushi's as well. It's the one that I could chime into. Good gate. When you're looking for a roughie, you want some horse at a good price that's going to get the perfect running transit because half the battle in this race. Going to get the trip, no issue. Kovalica is another one you could chime into. I think at big odds. And Land Legend's a fascinating one. If you forget the Caulfield Cup because he just threw his head off, you hope he sort of doesn't blow himself up here. But he's an interesting one. I think if he settles, he's got a little bit of timing about him. But I think the best thing about this year is it's probably a little bit easier for a 4 months to go through it because you can possibly pen half the field where most years you sort of go up to 20 and you're still sort of finding winners. But it's a fascinating race. I think the speed map's everything for this year's edition. And I think it's absolutely everything for this year's edition. I just like Vauban off the setup. And I think it's a good run, but yeah, can't turn you out of much else on top of the market. I think they all can make claims, boys.
Don't have my 5 each way St. George, just purely I think they've fixed its feet and has really good figures. We haven't seen those figures repeated this prep, but previously we have, and I thought it could have finished probably 2 or 3 lengths closer at the Valley. And I think Flemington 32 is right up. It's Alex.
Hey, quickly,
Yes,
what price does Buckaroo become a bet if it's not already for you guys? Because there's a chance that people are just gonna say can't win from that draw.
Yeah.
Do you think it gets bigger than 650? Do we get double figures for it at some stage? I don't think so.
I think it'd go the other way.
Yeah, I had a mark $10, but I can't see it being any. I think it'll get to sevens, but because the Smarties will still back it, the computers will back it because of
that's what I mean.
The figures, those figures, those ratings will hold it there. But if you get beat, you've got to in a field of 24, you've got to concede that if you get beat by a horse, it is what it is.
Yeah,
surely that's a horse you're willing to lose on. Like, the map is just unproven. We probably haven't touched on this. Hasn't been proven at 3,200 meters. Now you watch the Caulfield Cup, you suggested it's going to run 3,200 meters, but yet to be proven.
Yeah,
it's another risk. Another, talking about risk profiles. It's another one for that horse, and what do you do with it? But what price, Louis? I think you might get $7. I couldn't back it unless I got $10. The reality is, but the difference between a $6 shot and a $10 shot is not really a whole lot in regards in length wise. So, all right,
I think there'll be a big mover in the race. I think there will be the thing I'll say with Vauban, which I like, is I'd probably wait to the yard because if he blows up in the yard, then there's no point having a ticket on him over 32.
I think they'll come for absurd. Like I really think that's the one that they might steam.
They did last year.
Yeah, I think they'll steam it. Righto, lads. Anything else to wrap up? They're our tips. I'll give you mine again. I'll just recap my top 3. You know what I'll do? I'll recap the 2 horses I think can win. Absurd, I think can win, and I think One Smooth Operator. They're the 2 horses I think can win. Louis.
Yep, I'm going to be on Seeking. I reckon it'll start shorter than One Smooth Operator, so I'll take you guys on a little Friendly bet there.
Like
Sea
that.
King to beat Buckaroo, Absurd and Vauban top 4. And maybe if you're playing your wider exotics, you can chuck in a few others there. But I think it's those 4 plus maybe 1 or 2 others and then gaps.
Beautiful. Well, if
Yep.
we haven't mentioned a horse, we probably don't like it. Dino, what do you like?
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Vauban on top. For me, I'll be backing that horse as long as it parades well. I will be backing One Smooth Operator and Zardozi as well. And price dependent, like you mentioned, with Buckaroo drifts to say $7, $8. Can chime in. And if it doesn't get to that, won't be chiming in. And if you like a horse, I guess, out there as well, we haven't mentioned it, put in the comments and Louis and Gannon and I will get back to you too. We'll get some comments in there. I've got to do runner by runner preview tonight anyway. So let us know if we haven't mentioned any, Gannon.
Awesome. Boys, thank you so much. It's late Sunday evening, so really appreciate your time. I'm sure all listeners do as well. Let us know your comments. Get in there. Your feedback, of course, is our oxygen. So keep it going. We might even have one more show to wrap up the season. We may not. We'll see what happens. Until next time, bye for now.
Bye-bye.